Let's cover the script steps you should avoid, or as I'm calling them, evil script steps. And the first set are the most evil, the cut, copy, and paste. And clear is included in here as well, but it's not quite as bad as cut, copy, and paste. The first problem with cut, copy, and paste is they delete the contents of the clipboard. So let's say I'm using cut, copy, and paste to move data around in my tables and from one field to another and things like that, and so a lot of my buttons have these steps in it. The problem is every time you use cut, copy, and paste, you use the clipboard. And what is the clipboard for? Well, it's for storing something that the user copied. And it works from any program. Microsoft Word, Excel, they all use the same clipboard. So when you run a script that uses one of these steps, you destroy the contents of the clipboard and the user goes, "Where'd my stuff go?" And then they may not realize that your solution uses that step and may be wondering, well, okay, maybe I didn't go ahead and copy it or something. I must have been sleeping or something. So they go ahead and copy it, and then they run your program a little bit more, and they go, it's gone again. And so what you're going to have to do is tell them, sorry, my program doesn't support the most commonly used keyboard command, cut, copy, and paste. You can't do these menu items. You can't do the keyboard commands that associate with them because my solution will delete them. Now the second reason that cut, copy, and paste are evil as well as clear is because they require the field that you're cutting from or copying from or pasting from or clearing to be on the current layout. And what this does is marries the script to the layout. That means that anytime you change the layout, you have to consider the script. If you decide to take that field off the layout because I don't really need that on there, then your script's not going to work anymore because you won't be able to cut, copy, paste, or clear from it because it's not on that layout. So in general, I try to avoid these script steps. Only if your button says cut or copy or paste on it should you really use that step. The next set of evil script steps are anything with insert in front of it, with the exception of insert calculated result. There's some specific uses for that. But when you have insert text or insert from index or insert from last visited or current date or current time or any of these, you can most of these do them with your set field step. And set field doesn't require the field to be on the layout. That's the problem with these. They marry the script to the layout. And so if you can unmarry it, make it run independently whether the field's on there or not, you can change the layout and the script independently. So I generally try to avoid these if I can. Sometimes I use them, but you have to be wary of when you use them and that they'll marry that script to that layout. And then there's the new file. I'm not sure why this is here, because if you're a developer, you already know how to create a new file. You go up to the File menu and choose New Database. If you're a user, why would you want to create a new file? You don't know anything about FileMaker. It doesn't allow you to create fields and tables. You can't generate this database with this. You can only create a new file. It just doesn't make sense. So I really don't like this one. The only thing I can think of is it allows you to put a keyboard command with the new file script step. So but are you making new files that often? No, so you really don't need a keyboard command with it. Besides, you can do that with custom menus anyhow. So just cross this one off your list. And then there's change password. Now, people will be divided on this one, but I say don't let people change their own password. I make exceptions. I let my client make the decision when they decide on what they want to do. But what happens when people change their own password is they call it God or love or their dog's name or their mother's name or something like that, or 1, 2, 3, 4. They make it so simple that you're really compromising your security. So I generally recommend that you create the passwords for everybody. Make it something that's easy to remember but hard to guess. The next one is recover file. Now this is evil because people shouldn't be recovering a file. It's a process that seems simple but has a lot of side effects. You have to know a lot about how recovery works. Basically it's for fixing a damaged database. You don't want a user who doesn't know anything about FileMaker fixing a damaged database, so don't give them the ability to run it from a script. In fact, I'll go ahead and eliminate that feature from the menus using custom menus and security. Open preferences, open file options, really anything with open in front of it, with the exception of open file, should be crossed off the list. Why should they be able to go into preferences if they don't already know how to get there? Same with file options. There's a lot of stuff in there they won't understand. We haven't really done much with it, but there's things like open scripts and closed scripts. You really don't want them to have access to that. Certainly don't want them to have access to defined database or defined value lists or defined file references. You don't want to have access to any of this stuff. Really, they shouldn't go to these things. Just cross off your list. So hopefully what this does is make that list of 130 plus script steps a lot shorter. There's things you should never do like the opens or the inserts, and the inserts have an alternative in set field, but then you also have new file and change password you also shouldn't do. And there's a lot of things that really that you shouldn't do. You're looking at a much shorter list. I mean, certainly when you look at the steps that have the most depth, well, then the list gets really short. Scripting is not that complex. It's really not that hard. Don't look at 130 script steps and say, I have to learn every one. I teach a lot of classes, and I don't teach every script step, even in a 5-day class. So don't worry about it. We're trying to pare down this list. Just make sure that you certainly don't use these evil script steps. Make sure you concentrate on those script steps with depth, and learn the ones that are easy to learn also. There's a lot of them out there that like go to record and go to layout. They're extremely easy to learn.